What is up, everybody? We are back with another episode of That Is I. It's been a little bit, but we got one of my boys, Ian Lewis Jr., Marlins prospect. Talk a little bit about yourself.
And seeing Lewis, play with the Miami Marlins, played for about 4 years with them. I'm down here in Jupiter, Florida, currently trying to do this little playoff race, and there we are.
So we'll talk about, international guy, boys with Jazz from the Bahamas. Got a
Yeah,
little play. He did a little recruiting to get you out into Miami,
yeah.
maybe. But how is that process signing over from from the Bahamas to making it into rookie ball, tearing it up there, and now you're doing your thing in single A, and next year you'll be moving on up.
I mean, shoot, from the Bahamas, it was a consistent grind, man. Being from such a small island, it was like we had to get ourselves on the map. And Jazz, being one of the older guys, he stepped in first, opened the door for us, and he put on the show when he went to the minor league. So he gave us like a little path and something to follow up to. So he was over there in Arizona when I came to the Marlins. So when I came to the Marlins, I kind of had to adjust and grow up a little faster. So it was like get used to the professional life, do what I got to do. And it just so happened that maybe in my first or second year here, he got traded over here, and I got that mentor and I got somebody to
Yeah,
hands on work with.
yeah, of course. And I mean, dude, I've seen some of the stuff he was doing. He put on the fashion show for like the Marlins fashion show, and you got minor league guys involved. He's bringing publicity to the game, to the team. I mean, you were down in spring training last year too. Like, what's the publicity like? Because I went down there for 3 days. Like we talked about this just before, and it was mobbed every day. Like you
Mhm.
couldn't get. I came in with the camera. I couldn't even get in through half the guys that were sitting there, like to get anything. What's it like just playing around all that and the hype that's around the team, especially because of him, but just in general, because now you also had Sandy, you have Yuri, you have Sixto's coming back now. Like, what's it
Mhm.
like playing around all that hype?
That's something you look forward to. Honestly, it gives you like a little push for motivation. Like you want to be there. You want the people to be supporting you in the city of Miami to be on your back. It's like it's a great fan base and them. I gotta give it to them. Spanish folks, they locked in with baseball, so it's a great energy over there right now, and especially how they're pushing for playoffs, wild card, and all of that. That's be looking up at that. Like that's where we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. So something that I was looking at in the stats, the stolen base numbers, they go up every year. You got one of the fastest, times 30, I think you're 30.2 feet per second. It's just close to that. You're close to that. You have a 65 run rate, like one of the best runners. Speed, jumps, everything in the minor leagues. What's the secret to stealing 33 bases in a season? Can you tell us? You had 33.
It was just like more of hey, legs feel good. I know I can run. I'm gonna go ahead and take a few or something like that. It's more detail to it, obviously, but obviously I'm a fast guy and I just use it to my advantage. I like to make havoc on the base pads. 33 to me, it's just a starting number because it's my first full season. But I
Mm-hmm.
obviously want to make more.
Yeah,
Break.
and it's shown you've been going up every year. You started off in rookie ball. You were stealing a ton. Played 40 games, stole 10 bases. That's pretty good. Then
Mhm.
last year you played 50 games, stole 16 bases. Now you get that full season and you get 33, and it's only up from here. You're only 20, so you got a
Oh,
lot of time. Especially you see it happening a lot more with the bigger bases. Acuna's 30, 60 right now. He's
mm-hmm. Trust
he,
me, it's a big difference with the bases and the pitch clock and all of that. But at the same time, it's the same game, same stuff you got to remember, same stuff you got to watch. But trust, it's way more fun to be having a little more advantage in today's game.
Yeah, and hitters get that advantage now. Runners get that advantage. They wanted more offense. They get more offense. It's a fun
Wow,
game.
we love that. Come on now, babe.
It's a fun game now. I like to see it. So talk us through this playoff run. You guys are in the semifinals now. Similar.
Playoff.
Yeah.
So this season, I'm gonna sum the whole season up for you. It's been a fun season with the guys. We had a great group of guys just connected, clicked well early, and we had a saying. Our manager put us on like, let's not lose the series. If we lose the series, that's bad. The only way we're gonna make it to playoffs would be compete, tie the series, win the series, tie the series, win the series, and then as time went on, even though it's 115 I played, it felt like maybe 20. Like we just keep competing, and every series was okay. We tie the series, we win the series. We might lose one series, but then we got to the end of the season. It's like, okay, we're right in the mix. We
Mm-hmm.
worked hard, we grinded for this, and then we clinched. And we already played this team like all year round, hometown, little rivals, the Cardinals you got here, and so it's like now we just having fun. It almost feels like spring training, but I don't want to say it like that because it's just
Yeah.
having fun at this point.
Yeah.
We first game got a game tonight. Hopefully, we come out on top of that, and then had the championships. But
That's gonna
fingers.
be Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And looking forward, you show out in playoffs, people see it. You know, we
Yeah,
got we got a lot of guys covering minor league baseball now. MILB Central, pipelines on the playoffs, big series could bring you up big next year. So, speaking of, you entered the Marlins top 30 prospects. What's that feel like to you? Because as soon as I think it was Yuri graduated, number 30 now, you're on there and you have so much room to keep going up the board. You keep having good seasons, you keep improving. By the beginning of next season, you could be up in the top 10 easily.
I think I was 17 or 17 or 18 when I first went on the list. So now that I'm at 30, it's like that's a list I barely see. But I thank anyone who made the list and put me on the list and see me as that type of player. I just go there and try to show my skills and try to help as much as I can. And if that comes as a plus, so be it.
It's
I can't answer to it though.
Of course, and a lot of people don't realize that not a lot of guys that make the bigger top prospects, there's only so many top prospects that you could have. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, 30 prospects, you're gonna make the bigs, you're gonna make a splash. Top 30 is an honor for any
Yeah,
organization. It's
thank
crazy
God for
good
that,
these
man.
players are. And the jump from, and a lot of guys, especially college guys, oh, this 30th prospect, never heard of him. The jump from especially college to pros is ridiculous. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you saw it with the guy like Skeens. Skeens in his first start or second start let up like 4 runs. Dominant in college, but hey,
Pro ball, get to you.
it's a wake up call, and I think you've adjusted to that really well. What
Mm-hmm.
is as a hitter, a switch hitter too, facing pro pitching, some of the best in the game? What is one of those big adjustments that you have to make? From where you were playing in the Bahamas when you were grinding to now. What was one of those massive adjustments that you had to make to kind of fine tune your game?
Massive adjustments was I would say nothing crazy. It's more just being open minded, like listening to the guys around me, asking questions. Because these guys have experience and they have time. Even if it's a coach or it's a guy from like the Dominican or who went to college, like feeding off of what's around me to build what I already have. Because I work hard to make sure all the tools and stuff are ready to go. Now it's just like minor league baseball, basically. You learning, you're trying to get to the big leagues and try have an understanding of this is how the game is played. So
Yeah,
my biggest thing was just literally being open minded to everyone around me. Pick what I could pick brains, and like get more knowledge. So while I'm going up, I'm not just adding on tools. I'm adding on knowledge to what I'm doing.
that's the best thing in the game. Knowledge is everything, especially in baseball, because the more knowledge you have, the more equipped you are to hit these, you know, better
Trust.
pitchers. As it
Mm-hmm.
goes on, it gets a lot tougher because now single A, you're playing these guys that got drafted, these 100-mile-an-hour flamethrowers straight out of college. They're hungry,
Mm-hmm.
but as you go up, you start to get some of these guys that have seen the bigs for extended amounts of time, and now they're
You
back
start
there
to see these
rehab.
guys who know you. You start to see guys who then face you so much times. It's like, okay, he has never hit this pitch. Like you have to actually adjust to what's happening in the game and not just like, oh, my BP felt like this, so I gotta like do
Yeah,
this because it's fine. Like you can't be like they say 5 o'clock hitter, 6 o'clock hitter. You gotta really be able to hit at 6 o'clock, and that's a different mind game. It's not just about your tools at that point.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
something that I want to ask you just to know, who's the toughest pitcher that you've ever faced?
Toughest pitcher I've ever faced. See, I have a very tough mindset that anyone I face is kind of like not to say nobody, but like if it's me in the box, not just me and you, it's me. You
Oh,
got to face. So Pitcher wise, I wouldn't even remember the pitch, honestly. I just know what you got and I know how you go about yourself. But I'd say the toughest one would be two lefties this year, it's either Hanson or Mott's.
Oh yeah,
If we lose today, we gotta face Mott's tomorrow, and I'm not trying to see Buddy again because like somehow, some way, they just had my number all year.
I know what you mean. It happened. I mean, hey, my co-host. So now we're in college. So I'm in college now. So my co-host, he's in Paris. He studies abroad right now for his school,
Mm-hmm.
and we play. I think. I mean, I wasn't crazy, but the one guy that I couldn't hit for whatever reason was
What's
him.
that?
And I grew up with him. He's my best friend. Like we face each other 1,000 times. He's got my number. He
Just sometimes.
has it. No matter when it was, he would get me on. He would freeze me. He would get me on a high
Mind game.
fastball. It is how it is. It's how things go sometimes, and it's just like it's funny. It's funny how things work, but it's just some people just got that extra gear.
Nah, they just got your number at that point, man.
Yeah.
Only competing against him though. Like I got a hit against him the other night, and in my head I'm like, okay, like I got him
Got it
back.
back. I got it back. Yeah.
It's just a
Now I
competitive,
got one on him. He can't get that from me now.
in the playoffs too, back and forth.
Exactly. That's where you gotta elevate this. That's where you gotta elevate the play to celebrate the wins. You know,
Mm-hmm. This one matters.
they say elevate and celebrate on fastballs, but also just in general in playoff time, come crunch time, that's where things really shine.
Mm-hmm. This one counts, man.
Exactly. So one more thing I want to kind of talk on before we get to, I guess I would say our fun segment, because we always do one of those. People like to see that.
But
Is
I got you.
talk about like a lot of international guys, especially in Miami, but like, you have some of the best players, some of the best young stars in Jazz, Sandy, Yuri, Luis Arias now this year. Like, what are some of the advice that you've gotten from these, polished studs in the MLB? Like something that you take, maybe the best piece of advice that you've gotten from anyone, whether it's Jazz, whether it's Yuri, Sandy, like I know they're pitchers, but maybe advice about stuff that they could give you about other guys. Like what's something that someone told you that's going to stick with you, that's going to be there with you always because of how good of an advice it was?
I mean, every day I conversate with Jazz every day, but the biggest advice he would have given me is always remember how good you are. Don't ever second guess it. Don't ever doubt it. You go out on the field and you be the best player on the field every single time, and you will help any team you go on. You will help anywhere you step foot on. Because as soon as you start second guessing it, that's when you take away all those tools you work for, all the confidence you had in the cages and BP, like the small work that nobody sees. Take that confidence on the field, and don't care how anybody feels about it. I'm so sorry. Like if that's how you play, go down and have some fun.
Exactly.
Don't
That's great too, because I mean, you see it in his game, you see it in all these young stars' games, and they're playing, they're having fun with what they're doing, and they're lighting up the league. I know for a fact Acuna doesn't care that someone says, "Nah, he's too flashy." When he did that rock the baby, he was fired up. That was cool. Like everybody
yeah.
knows it, and he don't care. So yeah, that's great. That's great advice. And someone who said similar things was actually I talked to. I have to look up which it was because I have an episode where someone said pretty much it was the best advice they got, and it was similar advice. Brock
Okay.
Williams got that from Pete Alonso. So, if Pete Alonso's saying that, if Jazz is saying that,
And his
it's
dogs think alike, man.
so,
Them dogs think alike. You got to be a dog to be good at this game, man. You can't be soft enough.
yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's gonna be so fun to watch you come up and take that with you because people that get that advice that have that mentor in them, like like a Jazz, like a Pete Alonso, like someone who's polished in the league, takes
Mm-hmm.
a lot. It takes a lot.
It does.
It takes you a far way to be that close with someone who knows the game that well and has that experience because they can help you move your game forward and push you. So
Check.
that's
Yeah.
definitely huge. So now I got, I'll do this. We'll go with our our fun segment.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go with swaggiest players in the game. We'll go with the top 5. We'll go on the field and then off the field. So we'll start with your top 5 flashiest players on the field.
I got to throw Chiz in there. You got Jazz. You got Tatis for sure. You got Acuna, that's automatic. So that's 3.
Yeah,
Mookie.
Mookie,
Mookie steps out.
like that.
Who else? On the field, I would say like really tough. I mean, Manny don't pop out like that. I gotta think of someone like up there. Acuna, Ellie try.
Ellie's doing his thing. Dude.
Ellie, Julio.
Julio,
Yeah,
I love me some Julio.
Julio at 5 for me.
I love me some Julio. He's so good, man.
That's the energy right there.
That's the guy. I met him at Yankee Stadium.
I met him a few times. I didn't really speak to him, but from what I could see why he taking the Mariners where they going right now.
Dude, it's crazy. I went.
Off the,
My boy, shout out Eric, is the biggest Julio fan. Crazy. This kid's crazy. So we went to Yankees Mariners. We sat like close. We went early, so we met Julio, signed his jersey, signed the Sports Illustrated and everything for him.
that's what's up.
And then we went to the Derby in Seattle. Just like got us out there. So we was out in Seattle for the All-Star game, the Derby, and he calls it. He goes, "Yo, Julio, second half, he's gonna be hitting 280. He's gonna end up with 30 homers. He's hitting 290. He has 31, and he's probably in that MVP race right now." I mean, that was the craziest call out. Like, you would have never expected it from then. He was having a rough first half for his standards. And
Yeah.
for the playoff, you could see why he's bringing the team where they are. They're a playoff team this year, hopefully.
That's a lot of the people got to understand, man. Baseball is baseball. Baseball could be baseball at any time. You just got to really just ride it out and just watch the game.
Exactly. So,
but off the field, I'm going to knock that for you. I got 3 off the field. I'll go with, that's because I see him, obviously, Jazz. He be stepping out. Who else?
The chains off the field. I mean, he's always fitted.
Like, everywhere you go, you're going to be fitted up. So, it's my number 2. I say Yuri. I'm going to go with just Marlins right now. Yuri, Jazz. What's the name? Sandy be stepping up sometimes. Jesus be stepping up. And I'm going to throw Tim Anderson on there just because, I see his fits on the ground sometimes.
Controversial.
Yeah, Tim Anderson, he have the fits on the ground. So
he does. I respect it. I mean, hey, as a Yanks fan, he don't like the Yanks. I don't like him, but we can make it work. He's flashy off the field. I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him for sure. He draws at the Yankees, so I got to back my squad. But
yeah, I don't think he's gonna be down for a minute, man. My buddy worried about different things right now.
Of course,
you got to get that stick.
So with that, I'm gonna say good luck tonight. I'm gonna be keeping an eye out. We'll stay in touch. We get down for spring training, and maybe we do
that.
We could do a me, you, Jazz hop on.
Say that. You can set it up.
Oh, I'm in. I'm in. I'll be down there for sure. I appreciate you for coming on today. We'll definitely have you on again. We'll keep in touch and everything. So we'll see you down in Jupiter this spring, February. It's not too far away, honestly. It's only like 150 days.
Get ready for that work. We're gonna come back ready.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Do you have anything you want to say to anyone watching? Last words?
Last words, I would say, do what you got to do and keep on loving baseball, man.
That's a great way to end this episode. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate you for coming on, Ian. And just good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you for having me.
Of course, anytime.